As to be expected, Vanguard is reporting huge capital gain distributions on some of its funds. Huge. I was stunned by this. I was stunned by how much. Not a lot of them, actually, but some were quite bad. So anyway, there are ways to avoid this, and if you've been following this channel, you'll know how to do it. But if you're new here, I'm just telling you right now, this is how you avoid these gigantosaur capital gains that are going to come out. Now remember, this is only applicable to people in taxable accounts. It's not applicable to you in an IRA, 403B, TSP. Well, I guess TSP doesn't matter. Roth. It's only applicable to taxable accounts. I have taxable accounts. I'm building up my taxable account, all right, because I want to be poor on paper when I hit 62 years old or 60, whatever it is, whenever I'm taking Social Security. But you're not going to be poor on paper with these kind of distributions. All right, so let's look at this here. So preliminary capital gain estimates for Vanguard funds. All right, 2020 preliminary estimates. So we're going to look over here. I'm going to show you something here. Let me just pause the 1 second. He brought a piece of firewood in the house, and I had to. So if Eddie brings this piece of firewood in the house and I come to get it, he like puts his paws on it and he lays his head on it, like, "Don't get it, Dad, don't get it." And they give me a look like, "Oh, I hate you, Dad." That tastes good? Oh, my good knucklehead. All right. So what we're going to do is, this is the fund, preliminary year-end distribution, stock and balance fund. This is the payable date, 12/31. This is the ex-dividend date. If memory serves, if you're trying to avoid this, you want to be out of this fund by X date. Now, look, remember, if you're trying to avoid a capital gain by selling your fund with a huge capital gain in there, that doesn't make sense. So just as an FYI, don't just sell the fund to avoid the capital gain, because you might have a significant capital gain already built up in there if you've held it for any amount of time. It's stupid. So I want to avoid a 74-cent capital gain, so I'm going to sell my fund with a $5 capital gain. Don't do that. But anyway, this is what this means. All right. So basically, they're going to declare it on the 28th. Whoever has the fund on this date will be the owner, and they'll be payable the following day, 12/30. Capital Opportunity Fund, $19 a share. Look at that, which is 8.7% of the NAV. Wow. So if memory serves, what we do is we take 1945 and divide that by 0.08. That means the Capital Opportunity right now is trading at $243 a share, and they're going to distribute 8.76% of that, or basically essentially $20 a share. So you're going to get a $20 per share capital gain distribution. It gets worse. Here's the here's the Explorer Fund, 14% capital gain distribution. Whoa! All right, it gets worse. Here is the Global Equity, 8.76% capital gain distribution. But check this out. Here's a Growth and Income, 12.37% capital gain distribution. So again, literally, that means that the fund is, if your fund is worth $100,000, you're going to get a $12,000 capital gain distribution for which you got to pay tax on. And your taxes are going to be 0, 15, or 23.8 for a long-term capital gain. If it's a short-term capital gain, it's the taxes ordinary income. Look at that. Here's some target funds, not much. Healthcare is only, I'm surprised healthcare's only got 5.87, but still, if you're not aware of how this works, you're going to get spanked. But check this out. Here we got International Growth, 10.35, 10.39. Look at this. Mid-Cap Growth Fund, 25% of the portfolio is going to be distributed as a long-term capital gain. All right, come on, big boy. He wants to go back out and try to get that. You want to go back? Hold on just a second. Come on, go ahead. He doesn't want to go out. What are you going to go? Come on. Got a nasty day here in Georgia. Cold, wet. All right, 25% of the portfolio is going to be distributed to you as a long-term capital gain. I'm sure it's mostly long-term capital gain. That's crazy. A quarter of the portfolio. If you have $100,000 in this fund and it's in a taxable brokerage account, you're going to have to pay tax on $25,000 of long-term capital gain. Strategic equity, strategic small cap equity. Target retirement funds, 14%, 13%, 14%, 15% target retirement funds. That's freaking nuts. U.S. growth, 11%. Wellington, even 6% for Wellington. It's not nearly as bad as I would have thought. Wellesley, about 3.5%. Wellington, about 6%. Windsor, almost 10%. Windsor, 2, 6.5%. Crazy, man. And then you see bonds don't have any capital gain distributions, hardly. Not enough to worry about. All right, so let's see what else we want to look at. I want to show you something here. And here's the ETFs. And now this is interesting. Here's all bond ETFs. Well, dividend appreciation, 5.8. Actually, international dividend appreciation, 5.8. That's pretty high. And that's it. Everything else is just bond ETFs. I wonder why that international. Maybe it has something to do with being international. Actually, let's see what the dividend growth. What's the one I have? Dividend growth? I got dividend growth. Right here. 3.63 for dividend growth. All right. So let's take a look at what Vanguard says. Mutual funds and ETFs typically distribute taxable capital gains each December. Below is a list of the ones that distribute taxable capital gains by the end of December. Let's see. These estimates are subject to change. Note, funds not listed do not expect, as of October 31st, to distribute capital gains. Funds not listed do not expect to distribute capital gains. Let's see what funds aren't listed here. Let's type in old VTI. Nothing. Let's type in old VTV. Nothing. Interesting. Let's type in old VTSMX. Nothing. SAS. Nothing. VFI and X. Nothing. Interesting. Doesn't that kind of find interesting, right? So notice there is no capital gain distributions on the so let's compare. We're going to look at mid-cap growth. We got this right here. I'm going to Schwab. Vanguard Mid-Cap Growth Fund. Here's the distributions they've had going back to 2011. All right, so we got $2. Right now, Mid-Cap Growth is trading at $38. So in 2020, it distributed $2 a share, which is about 8.5. 2 divided by 33. About 6% of the total portfolio value distributed as a long-term capital gain. 2019, it distributed over 10%, 2.7 divided by 26. That's 10.385% it distributed as long-term capital gain. 2018, it distributed 3.25 divided by 22.94, 14% as a long-term, and a little bit of that short-term capital gain. Anyway, you get the gist of where I'm going with this. Every year, the mid-cap growth not only distributes long-term capital gains, but some years it delivers short-term capital gains too. Pretty crazy, huh? So let's go to VO, which is a mid-cap ETF, and see what they do here, shall we? Just a mid-cap ETF, and we're going to go to distributions, and we're going to see no capital gain distributions. Going back to 2000. None. No capital gain distributions. Isn't that interesting? Let's try something else. Let's go to the Growth Fund of America, AGTX or AGTHX. Let's do distributions. And I like American funds. I like the Growth Fund of America. But let's just look at this. And we're going to see long-term capital gain distributions. Long-term capital gain distributions every year. Here's over 5.125 in 2018. Divided by $40 is 13% distribution in 2018. Interesting. So I said, well, what are they going to do this year? Let's see. I had it up here. Hold on, let me pause it real quick. Right there. So we're going to look at distributions. Let's look at Growth Fund of America, shall we? Hold on, just A, B, C, E, F, G, right here. 7 to 10% of the fund will be distributed this year. So Growth Fund of America, we'll just say 8.5% of the total portfolio will be distributed this year. So we have the Growth Fund of America is trading at $83, 83.49 times 0.085. That's be another $7.10 of capital gains distributed. Interesting, huh? So let's go to VT or VUG. Let's take a look at the Vanguard Growth ETF. This is large cap. And let's see what the Vanguard Growth ETF is doing. Distributions and you ready? Nothing. Like the guy from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Remember when he who's that guy? The gold miner guy. What's that guy's name? Anyway, he takes his pickaxe, puts in the snow. Nothing. He's searching for peppermint. I can never get that peppermint. All right, so the point being is all these capital gains, you should not have mutual funds in a brokerage account. You should have ETFs because right here, man, you're going to get hammered. I had a lady, I'll never forget this, my friends. I had a lady that was assigned me at USA when I was here in Alpharetta. And she had like $200,000 in American Century funds. And I don't know how she got those funds. I didn't sell it to her. But anyway, she just came to my office one day, friggin' angry as a bee in a bonnet, man. And she threw down her statements on my desk and said, "Why did you guys do this to me?" I said, "What?" And she goes, "I had $40,000 of taxable income in 2000. Hold on a sec. She said she had $40,000 of income on a $200,000 portfolio in America because of her American Century funds." I said, "We didn't do this to you. American Century did." So 40 divided by, that's at a 20% distribution yield. Yeah, 20% distribution rate. And it hurt her because she had, I can't remember the exact circumstance, but it made her taxes or taxable income above where she needed it to be for something. I just remember she lost something because she had all this massive taxable distributions. It wasn't a bike. I just forgot what it was. But anyway, hey. All right, so I'm gonna go get this dog. But this is how you avoid this stuff, man. Brokerage accounts should consist of ETFs, not mutual funds. All right, we'll see, guys. And when I say mutual funds, I'm talking index funds are fine. Actively managed mutual funds. Ideally, you don't have those in a brokerage account. All right, we'll see you guys.